morning. There is no rain as our dignitaries take care. Every age, every gender, every member and every number, living with love, peace and joy, for the unity of the earth, for the beauty of learning, coming together for a positive work. Good morning, learned dignitaries on the dais and off the stage. We have gathered here to experience the dimension of learning to revitalize our stand as academicians and promoters of academic excellences in different parts of the globe. Invocation is a miraculous happening between God and men. To invoke the blessings of God and the benevolence of Tamil Sai, let us all raise for Tamil Sai worship. I now invite Aishwarya for his Tamil Sai. Thank you. Kindly be seated. Light illuminates the darkness. Light brings in enlightenment. Light leads and glows the unglowed, and the light leads us to the right path. I now invite our dignitaries on the dais to light the Kuttuvilakku, a symbol of igniting minds. Please, sir, madam. I also invite Mr. Dasratha Rajan from Yelama Vidyalaya and Mrs. Lakshmi from Sri Krishna Swami Matriculation High School, Annagar. And also I invite Dr. Azanari sir to join the session. Please, sir. Dr. R. Arthanari sir, our Dean, Major Dr. M. Ramapuram, Dean IQAC sir, Dr. Narayan sir, Dr. Dilipan, Vice Principal Admin, and Dr. SRM, Vice Principal Academic. Always welcome your existence, which has been devoted to clear ideals of goodness and happiness. I now invite our most dynamic, most energetic, most beautiful, most enlightening personality, Major Dr. M. Venkatramanan, Dean College of Science and Humanities, to deliver the welcome address. Please, sir.
Vanakkam, Vandanam, Namaste, Namaskar. Happy morning to all. At the outset, I would like to thank our Honorable Chairman and Co-Chairman for having permitted us and giving us the financial support to conduct the Principals Convention Spectricon 2023. I also thank our Chief Director and the Directors and other administrators for giving us the full support and motivating us in almost all the steps that we have taken up in organizing this mega evening. Now I would like to go for the formal welcome address. And at the outset, I would like to welcome our chief guest for today's convention, Dr. Lata Pillai, who is going to inaugurate the convention. He has been the former Vice Chancellor of Indira Gandhi Open University and also Director of Rajiv Gandhi Sports and Development University at Sriperumbudur. Really, we are happy and proud, Madam, for having accepted our invitation in a very short notice. In fact, I would say that all the three speakers who are here have accepted our invitation in a very short notice and having graced us here to give the welcome address, the keynote address, and the special address. Madam, on behalf of the College of Science and Humanities, I welcome you to this session. I also welcome Dr. Devi for having accepted our invitation, who is the Professor and Head of Computer Science and Application at Bharathiar University, Coimbatore. And today she is here to deliver us the keynote address. And we have Dr. K.R. Malati, Founder and CEO, Oro Educational Services, Chennai, and Early Education Expert, Harvard University, for having accepted the invitation, being with us here today to deliver the special address. I, as Dean of the College of Science and Humanities, wholeheartedly welcome you all for this session, Madam. I also welcome Dr. Arthanari, the founder president of the Headmasters and Principals, Retired Headmasters and Principals Association, who has associated with us for many years. In fact, when I was in DGV, from there I am associated with them, and he has been a support to us in all the activities as far as the schools and institutions are concerned. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of the Science and Humanities for this convention. I also welcome our Vice Principal, I would say the two lieutenants of me, without whom any program in the institution cannot be done. I have Dr. Dilipan, Vice Principal Admin, and Dr. Saronath, Vice Principal Academic, Well, always I would say they are a pillar of support for me, along with the faculty members, the heads of the department who are here. It's my duty to welcome all the heads of the department and faculty members, the dean, IQAC, with whom I have been associated, I have been associated not at SRM, the earlier institutions also. And we have with us Ms. Bindu here, the secretary of our chairman, and I also welcome her on behalf of the College of Science and Humanities. And we have the data MD, right, sir? And data logics MD here with us. I also, on behalf of the College of Science and Humanities, welcome you, sir. IST. The most important person whom I have to welcome there, the principal, the correspondents, and the secretary, and also the representatives from various schools who have accepted our invitation. And I would just to today to make this concept a grand success. And wholeheartedly, sincerely welcome you all for this convention. And I'm sure that all the three speakers will deliberate, will give the best of their ability, and I'm sure it will be a good deliberation and understanding, and we will come to know of various aspects of higher education. With these words, I once again welcome you all for this Principals Convention 2023. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been a reward for what he is and what he gave. This is time to honor our guests. I now invite our Dean, Major Dr. M. Venkatramanan, sir, to honor our chief guest, Dr. Lata Pillai, with a memento and a food bouquet. I invite our Vice Principal Admin, Dr. J. Dileepan, to honor our guest, Dr. T. Devi, with a memento and a fruit bouquet. Please, sir. I request our Vice Principal Academic, Dr. V. Saraman, sir, to honor our guest, Dr. K. Malati, with a memento and a fruit bouquet. Please, sir. I request our Dean, sir, to honor Dr. R. Arthanari, Founder President of Retired HM and Principals Association. Please, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Mind is a delicate part of human existence. Mind behind the matter is a divine part of any deliberation. Here is a brief note on SecPrecon 2023, Secretary, Principal, and Correspondent Convention by our ever conscious, ever sincere, ever foresighted, and ever agile academician, Dr. J. Philippus, Vice Principal Admin. Sir, I request your good self to unwrap the objective of the conflict. Please, sir.
A very warm good morning to one another here. It gives me immense pleasure to give the brief note on SRM 2023. SRM focuses on the life factor in every individual that centers upon enhancing the wholesome personality of every humble learner in the field of education. The objective of the SRM is to help the academician and educationalist to become aware of the reformation and transformation that is getting effected in the field of education. To enable them get a clear picture about the changes in the academic pursuit of the young learners, to help learners, teachers, and general public to educate themselves on the shift from traditional learning system to liberal learning. To enable academic experts, policy makers, and curriculum designers analyze the impact of transformative learning system that can become a turning point in the lives of learners. NEP, National Education Policy, promotes critical thinking and provides a comprehensive intellectual foundation for the students to excel and get empowered. There will be a 5+3+3+4 structure which comprises 12 years of school and 3 years of preschool, replacing old 10+2 structures. NEP permits multiple entry and exit for learners to pursue their studies as per the convenience. It emphasizes on job creators rather than the job seekers. SRM Minister of Science and Technology keeps pace with the changes and challenges in the field of education and promotes progressive education. Team teaching with case studies and interactive classroom sessions are already an integral part of education at SRM. E-learn facilities the students to explore and experiment online in the comfort of their personal space. SRM has implemented LMS, learning management system, to manage, host, and track learning programs. Several instructional strategies, such as the teaching pedagogies, are implemented for the benefit of the student community by SRM faculty members. Learning outcome-based followed is at SRM works towards a more holistic experience for the students. Today, we are in a situation to build the capacity to adapt to a changing world. SRM invest to join hands to be the part of the positive world of change and contribute to the enhancement of the young mind and to the service of the humanity at large. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Dynamism enriched, elevation uphill, so calm and composed, agile and amicable. She is none other than our chief guest for the day, Dr. Latha Pillai. Dr. Latha Pillai is a former advisor of National Assessment and Accreditation Council, former Pro-Vice Chancellor of IGNOU, is a renowned educationalist, advocator of quality education to maintain highest standards in quality education. She has been nominated to various committees of UDP, MHRD, FICCI, and CII. Ma'am, having you amidst us this morning is a great pleasure indeed. It is my heartfelt pleasure to invite your good self to deliver the inaugural lecture. Please, ma'am.
respected Major Venkataraman, Vice Principals of SRM, of the SRM Science and Humanities College, my co-panelists, or should I say co-speakers over here, Professor Devi and Professor Marti, the Director IQAC, Ms. Bindu from the Chairman's Office, principals for whom this convention is being organized. I'm extremely happy to be here in your midst this, I can't say morning, I say this afternoon, because, you know, it's nice to see heads of institutions, people responsible for molding generations of young students in this campus. I've been briefly associated with SRM and am aware of the various activities that they do. It's also interesting to see their tagline, the place for transformation. You are here today to listen to speakers on how to transform education, particularly when it comes to liberal education. I must admit that I'm not an expert in school education. I have spent the past 3 or 4 decades in higher education. Nevertheless, I have the freedom to speak since Major Venkataraman told me I can speak what I think is right for the audience. So I've just put my thoughts together, and you are free to agree or disagree with what I say. You'll have more expert sessions from the other 2 people. When it comes to school education, the world over, there are diametrically opposite views as to what purpose school education serves. Many people believe that the curriculum and pedagogy in school education should relate to the world of work, whereas the opposing group feels that school education should serve a purpose in life, should make a life, should have a larger vision and provide qualities which bring out students, bring the best out of students. How school education systems respond to these challenges depends on which country you belong to, depends on the continuous, depends on which is the maturity level of the country, the economy of the country. So the more developed world may speak about looking at life and looking at major goals as first purpose of school education, whereas developing countries with all the constraints they have look at education or school education as a means to getting a job, a means to getting a livelihood, and these are the purposes, and these may be the purposes. Now, whatever be the purposes, you all head schools, or you all are seniors in school, senior teachers in schools, which serve a particular purpose. And to me, this represents a very important crowd. How does transformation happen? Who brings in transformation, and who is responsible? As heads of institutions, as teachers, are we responsible for bringing about transformation? Is a question that we must ask ourselves. There are 2 important factors in the recent past which have impacted our lives very much. I'll briefly touch upon them and then go into the transformation aspect. It is still vivid in our memory as to what happened during the pandemic. The pandemic proved to us all how fragile human nature is, how interconnected we all are. The pandemic also proved to us how vulnerable we are as individuals, irrespective of social class, education, caste. It did not leave anybody unaffected. Then we came to know the importance of what it means to be human, what it means to come together, and how, it was simply at a loss as to how we would handle ourselves. While this was the social scenario and the emotional scenario across the world, what happened in the field of education? As teachers, you all responded to what could be the best that you could do. Initially, when the pandemic broke out, none of us knew how to respond. Schools, students, parents, everyone were at a loss. They did not know how to cope with the situation. As the lockdown progressed, we resorted to different means. We try to use the mobile in the classrooms. We try to provide devices to our students. Mobile, a gadget which was banned in classrooms, became a kind of lifeline for the entire sector. And education in whatever form moved along that way for quite some time. While education was moving, we also realized that there were many gaps, and we would fill these gaps once the so-called pandemic is over. Now, luckily, I think with comfort, we can say that we put the pandemic behind us, and maybe we have all gone back to our pre-COVID ways of handling classrooms. Am I right? We've all gone back to stuff pre-COVID. So did COVID teach us anything? I'm not sure. Even as an individual, I'm not sure what it taught us when we are in the education space. We began learning WhatsApp. We used WhatsApp, Google Classroom, depending on which school you come from and the level of technology that you had. You began using these various methods to teach your students. But now we know that our students have large learning deficits. We know that many students lack devices. We know that students require social support. They require engagement in classrooms. We are also aware that as teachers, we need to be empowered. We need to be trained in the skill sets required to handle technology. What we did with the mobile or with the laptop is simply not good enough. We must improve ourselves. We must update ourselves. That was the message. We also learned that maybe in future, hybrid classrooms, blended classrooms, flipped classrooms, these are words that we hear all around us. Maybe that would become the norm. But suddenly it seems to have all disappeared. We are back to our old method of teaching chalk and board, following the same class system, following the same examination system. And hence, I say that are we ready for transformation? Are we ready to make the change that we want? And are students willing to listen to the old styles that we have been talking about all along? So this was one major thing which affected us, the pandemic. The second major event which happened was the launch of the National Education Policy. After almost 4 decades, we have a new policy, National Education Policy in place. Many of you at seminars and conferences may have heard of what the NEP taught. I will restrict to, in a nutshell, what did the NEP say for school education? The NEP says that in curriculum and pedagogical structure, you must have the 5+3+3+4, which you all are familiar with. It says that you should break down the silos between arts and sciences, break down the barriers between curricular and extracurricular activities, no more differentiation between vocational and academic. The NEP for schools also talks about multilingualism. It talks about a National Assessment Council, various ways in which education can be more holistic, examinations can be more formative. These are some of the principles which the school education aspect talks about. Professor Kasturi Rangan, who wrote the NEP, also mentions that it should provide choice and flexibility to students. Now, this is the immediate context in which we are looking at what transformation can happen. Institution building is a great exercise, and very often I say building an institution can be compared to the construction of a building. You all represent different institutions. The age of institutions varies from 3 years to 30 years to 50 years, different institutions on the continuum at different stages. How can it be compared to the construction of a building? Because institution building requires the same amount. It requires a good foundation. It requires good bricks and mortar material to build it. It requires good support structures in the form of teachers. It requires students to come into the institution, and society to support what is happening. Now, all these put together, when an institution stands the test of time, we say that these are good institutions, these are resilient institutions, and hence the challenge is, how do we as schools respond to the changes that are taking place around us? We are talking of transformation, not because time has passed, because since we were appointed as principals or teachers, maybe we've served for 10 years, 20 years. We are talking of transformation because the world is moving out at such a fast pace, a pace that we cannot comprehend where we will be. So I will touch on just 2-3 aspects. Maybe I'll touch on technology because the Devi is an expert, so I'll just give a few points on technology. Look at something on life skills and look at what we mean by examinations and bridging the gap, which Professor Malti will talk about. Technology has kind of pervaded our lives in unbelievable ways. We have forgotten when we've gone to a bank, maybe forgotten when we went to a railway station to book our tickets. All our shopping, most of our shopping is done online. But when it comes to the school situation, somehow we feel that only the physical presence of a teacher is the way to teach our students. Technology in its various forms has helped our students, and we are relating to students who are in a generation very, very compatible or very, very friendly with the various tools that are available. We hear of simulated classrooms, we hear of simulated labs. These are some of the minimum infrastructure which schools are having when they don't have the more advanced studies. There is technology has responded to various challenges, be it in the healthcare sector, be it in the banking, or any other area that we are aware of. We are talking of virtual reality, we are talking of augmented reality. Why are we talking of these realities? Because we want students to have an immersive experience. We want students to have an experiential learning. And the whole idea is that technology-based learning is to make the entire education process more and more student-centric. So it is in this context that technology becomes very important. And however much we may shy ourselves away from it, we have to remember that to be relevant, we have to adapt to these various technologies. Just as I mentioned about AI and VR, you have a lot, even in special schools, there are robotics which are being used. Madam Devi will speak to you about more in detail. So even to identify the needs of learners and give them personalized learning, these are the new tools which are being used. As school principals, you know that you have various software, even for your basic administrative processes, and we don't have to continue the old ways in which we have been doing things. Today, in fact, when I was coming into the college here, I saw somebody carrying a bundle of attendance registers. And I was told that teachers do their biometrics, teachers sign in the register. Now, this is because I think we basically distrust human beings. That is characteristics of Indians, not of this particular institution. We distrust biometrics, we distrust signing, and then somebody has to countersign. Now, all this has become automated. You have your ERP, you have SAP, you call it whatever. I'm not an expert, but I know that there are n number of apps, portals, anything which is available for us to use to use it in a positive way. So much for technology that we all need to gear up to and move beyond just the PowerPoint presentations, even if we have been just using them. The importance is that we can no longer say that a student living far away or a student who does not have a device cannot do a particular experiment. Schools have the capability, they should have the wherewithal to provide these things to students because the infrastructure requirements of schools and colleges are changing. Place emphasis on technology. I think an important aspect is examination. Examinations have been considered, have always been considered as the bane of the higher education system. Irrespective of whatever changes are being made, we have this tension before the board examinations. I'm told that teachers could not respond or come to the seminar because the board examinations are going on. You have invigilation duty. So if it creates that much stress for teachers, I can imagine the stress it creates for students. We are talking of examinations where there will be continuous formative assessment, summative assessment. Now, formative assessments have been spoken about for a long period of time. I know many commissions, and in my long career, right from the Kothari Commission, we have been talking of formative assessment. But what are we doing? Are we doing just lip service? Okay, we give 2 surprise tests, we give 2 quizzes, something like that. If so, it is time for transformation. Why is there a need for transformation? Because we have to address examinations from the point of view of learning outcomes. As teachers who have done B.Ed, you may have had pre-service or in-service teaching. You all are familiar with learning objectives, Bloom's taxonomy. All this is good that you've learned in theory. But I think the focus is now on learning outcomes. Are our students able to learn what is expected of them at the end of a particular unit? Am I able to define that X, Y, and Z capabilities will be there for students after they finish a particular unit of study? And this is what is called outcome-based learning when we come to evaluation. So examinations, yes, in examinations, you can use technology. It helps because students remain engaged. There is gamification of quizzes. There are various things, project work. There are assignments, there are proctored examinations. All these are developments which are taking place in the examination space. So to remain competitive, if you are competing with other schools, if you're looking at your students moving into colleges and universities, which are good places for them, I think we have to relook at our examination system and begin doing this within our schools. While technology helps us in examinations, we don't have to use always the computers. I would say in a literature class, you can have role play. In some other class, you can have poetry. In third class, maybe you can have a quiz. And in fourth class, it could be simulated learning. Whatever you do, there are different mediums. And those who believe in technology now tell students to bring out small videos, put it on YouTube, put on group podcasts, different ways in which students can engage themselves. We have students who are active visually and auditively, and therefore there is a need to bring them all together and bring examinations and tests of the kind that students will be interested. There's no point in saying this is what we learned, this is how we did it, and this is how it should be done. We have to accept that we live in different times. The expectations of our students are different. And if we have to align ourselves to those expectations, we just have to change. And this change can happen only within the classroom. A teacher is the most autonomous person in a classroom. That 55 minutes or 1 hour that I have as a class teacher, the syllabus is given to us by the CBSE. I fully agree. I know there is pressure that you have to perform, that is how, what is that, pass percentages are important. All these are important criteria, but what I teach and impart within the 55 minutes in a classroom is what impacts the childhood or what impacts a youth in your classroom. So I think that's the tremendous capacity which teachers have. How will we make our examinations more meaningful? Having spoken of technology, examinations, I'm inclined to also bring about the importance of life skills. The NEP, of course, has mentioned the various life skills that our students need, that the youth, particularly in a secondary school level, need. But to me, it is not something new. Long back as students, we all learned how to live together in a classroom, how to be in a school, and what do we do to collaborate, and what do we do to relate to others. Slowly, as families became nuclear, we have one child, two children at home. We don't have grandparents who take care of children. We have a different social structure, and hence children, the very nature of what is childhood has changed. It is in this context that life skills become important, imparting life skills to students to know who they are, to give them the communication skills, give them leadership skills, how to work in a team, how to interact with others, how do we accept dissent from others, how do we provide tolerance. We see so much of intolerance around us, but how do we make all this relevant is what a typical life skills curriculum would comprise of. I know for the universities, the UGC has brought out something called Jeevan Kaushal, which has a whole set of modules on life skills. I'm sure for the school sector, there must be something which talks about the life skills that your students need. Now, why are these life skills important? Do you think it's only the teachers who mold, or would you say that it's also the parents? The students spend a large part of their time in the schools with us, and life skills becomes important because, especially from the 10th to 12th, because tomorrow they are going to the universities, colleges, and they will move out into the world of work. The earlier we begin providing the exposure, the better it is. The world of work that our students will go to is very dynamic. We are preparing students for jobs that we really do not know which will exist. Your students will go out into the world of work maybe 10 years from now. They will have a period, if they are 12th standard students, another 5 years of undergraduation, post-graduation. So 7 to 10 years from now, you don't know what jobs exist, what skills are required, and where will they move. In the world of work, further changes are taking place. Nobody is happy in remaining in one job for the entire career. We all were happy being in administration or being a teacher for 20, 30 years. Today, children like to move. How many jobs you move in your career? How many jobs you move along your work life has become a criteria for success. So mobility across careers. People are not happy in the domain that we do. Maybe I am a psychology student, but tomorrow I want to do visual art. I go into visual art. You hear new kinds of jobs which have come in. You hear YouTube specialists, influencers, bloggers, artists, musicians, a whole lot of a variety of jobs that are available, besides, of course, entrepreneurs. And this brings us to the point, what is the kind of career counseling that we provide as a part of life skill education for our students? If schools are not providing it or not providing it in a comprehensive way, I think we should look at it seriously, because without life skills, any amount of domain knowledge will not help us. You hear of the biggest industries. I could just relate to India. It could be Infosys, Wipro, it could be the Zoho here in Tamil Nadu. All of them say that our graduates who come out are not ready for the world of work. Now, is it the responsibility of only the university, or is it the responsibility of the school? If you ask universities or colleges, they immediately shift the blame to the feeder schools, saying that the candidates that we get from there do not have an understanding of concepts, the material that we get, and the words they use, the stuff that we get from the school is really not up to the mark. Of course, my question would be, if you want only 90% in terms of academics, if you want only 90% students, then what is the role of a college, or what is the role of a school? We are here to provide the education possible, a holistic education to everybody, irrespective of what percentage you have. So that's why I think life skills becomes extremely critical, and whether you have specified periods in your class, in your timetable, or otherwise, we we have to make this requirement for life skills. The last part of what I'd like to say is the importance of liberal education. The NEP said that you have to break down the silos between arts and sciences. Long back, we used to talk about the importance of STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Now we have moved to STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, meaning that liberal arts have a very important role in developing students, in developing youth. From ages ago, you go back even to Aristotle, Plato, Benjamin Franklin, or even Swami Vivekananda, all of them spoke about building the character, building a holistic individual, man-making education, as Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda said. Now, what is this man-making education? From where does it come from? If you see the recruitment trends recently and student preferences, you will see that many of them want to go into so-called liberal arts subjects. You have universities which are promoting themselves as liberal arts. If you've heard of the Ashoka University in Delhi, it calls itself a liberal arts university. You have the Kriya University here, you have the Sai University, to name a few. These are universities and institutions which are focusing on liberal arts. Liberal arts provides one with the dimension of looking at aspects of life in a more, shall I say, in a more disciplined manner than just a numerical or mathematical function. Liberal education could be in art, in humanity, in history, it could be in architecture, it could be in sociology, any of these subjects. And all these subjects now are incorporating technology in them. How do I learn history, or how do I use technology for better teaching of history, for better understanding of history? There are various universities which are conducting studies on how we should use anthropology and technology together. How can we use music with computer science or with AI? So the common jargon in higher education is computer science plus X. And recently there was a professor who said it's not computer science plus X. Plus X means a major liberal arts stream. What we are talking about is AI plus X. So AI plus music, AI plus psychology, AI plus history, whatever be the subject, because in every subject, technology can be applied. You may be teaching your students, and the NEP says about data mining, it talks about programming, coding, all this digital computing to all be a part of the school education. And hence, I think these all should be woven together when it comes into a full-fledged liberal education that we are talking about. These are some of the important dimensions that we need to look at when it comes to the transformation of education. I think if we attend to some of these, I always say, as teachers, we begin believing that there are many things which are beyond our control. Okay, you might say the principal says this, the government says this, the ministry says this, they give us the syllabus, etc., etc. Those are all the external boundaries that we have. But there are many things which are within our control, or what I call, as a student of psychology, I say it is within my sphere of influence. And if we widen the sphere of influence, we can definitely make a change, because change begins with individuals. Then when it moves collectively, it becomes transformation. Otherwise, there is no rule, there is no law which can bring about transformation in any sector. I'd like to just end wishing you all the best in the endeavor that you have taken up today, and only say, I'm reminded of an old saying that we have, not a saying really, but you all as teachers may have heard of Rip Van Winkle, who went to sleep for 30 long years. So it is said that Rip Van Winkle woke up after 30 years He got up and he went out into the society. He went to the hospitals. He saw the world had changed. He went to the markets. The world had changed. There were malls all over. He went to look for banks. He couldn't find banks because there were only ATMs around. But he went into a school and he found that hardly anything had changed. So I'm sure as teachers, we don't want to be in that kind of a situation where only schools are left behind. This is not to put down the teaching community, because I know even during the COVID, there were many teachers who went that extra mile to motivate students. You are teachers and heads of students or of schools in an urban setting. There are many examples of teachers in rural settings, what they did to help their children. In Jharkhand, there was a teacher who went with a loudspeaker mic and with 5 teachers to conduct classes. There are many examples the world over. In Gujarat, then some other examples. So if you look at the work that NGOs did, there are many things that have happened. So teacher empowerment through free service and in-service teaching to keep up with the technologies that are required, that can help or can definitely be an assistive model for transformation that has to take place. I hope you all resonate with some of my thoughts. You are free to disagree, but I think that's the way forward for teachers and principals of schools over here. Wishing you all the best in this conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The spontaneous flow of enriched knowledge and expertise are the hallmarks of your inaugural address. Now is the time for deliberation. If there are any questions from the audience, you're free to ask. Any questions or clarifications? If not, let's proceed with the proceeding. One second.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Skill development is being imposed to all schools and all, but skill development adds memory power also. I think so. I hope so. I'm sure also. And this memory power is being lost in students. That can be how improved.
So we'll have our deliberation at the end. We'll move on with the proceeding. A teacher teaches, a preacher preaches, a leader leads, a role model sets the model. Enriched knowledge, innovative mind, invaluable soul are the attributes that are relevant to define our guest, Dr. T. Davis. He is an inspiring leader who still keeps impressing as a professor and head in the Department of Computer Applications, Bharatiya University, Coimbatore. She is a great researcher who involved herself in publishing many research papers and projects. She is a great orator and a sought-after plenary talk. We are so happy to listen to your oration, ma'am. May I now invite your good self to deliver the keynote address. Please, ma'am.
Honorable Dean, Dr. M. Dr. Arjunari, Founder President of Chennai Principal, Dr. Lata Pillai Madam, former advisor at India, Dr. P.R. Malati, Founder and CEO, Auto Educational Services, very warm good afternoon to all. It is a big opportunity to meet the leaders of the school. Madam Lata Pillai covers all the aspects of school education, teaching, learning, examination, given a large. I am from computers application practice. In the last 3.5 years, we worked a lot on Industry 4.0. The entire world is moving towards digital transformation technology. And the use of it became very clear during COVID time. Digital transformation technology are the only tools filter during the time for communication. To get anti-medicine overwatch over somebody is suffering fever or flu. So Industry 4.0 is nothing but artificial intelligence, big data, cloud computing, mobile computing, Internet of Things, virtual reality, and computing. I'll repeat: AI, big data, IoT, AR and VR, cloud, mobile. So everywhere people are trying for smart cities, smart traffic, smart cars, electronic cars, autonomous cars, driverless cars, even driverless cars too. So for the smartness, AI has to be given. Can we have smart cities? Can we have smart meters? Can we have smart principles and smart security? World is taking first. We have worked for the last 3 years. Here, I'm not going to give you a fish. I'm going to. I will just give or open your eyes with some website and URL. Go through that, and I'll give you my email address. Get in touch. See, the first website is search on Google for Bharatiya University. You will get b-u.ac.in. b-u.ac.in. Put a slash I4E. I for industry, digit 4, representing industry 4 for education. I4E. See, computer science teachers, computer science engineering teachers can write books on artificial intelligence, big data, and AI. Now here, what we have looked at under the leadership of the former Vice Chancellor, Mr. Kaliraj, is how AI can be applied in economics, how AI can be applied in environmental management, how big data analytics will be useful in healthcare, cutting across the platform, multidisciplinary approach. We have invited all the research teachers, the professors, for practicing AI in their department to contribute their knowledge in the form of chapters. Apart from that, the Vice President of IBM, Ramapuram, and Vice President of Register, Dr. Kumar, they have written chapters sharing how IoT is useful in analyzing the behavior of the drivers before you give insurance, car insurance. The practical example of the digital transformation technology across all art science is given in this website. There are 8 bullet points. The first 4 are the order forms for the book, and it says what topics are covered. The next 4 bullet points take you to one sample chapter of the book so that you can see the quality of the book. I invite you to look at the content page of the book. Say, for example, KM Singhak in Coimbatore. It's a very unique hospital. Dr. Davamani, who is the owner of the hospital, has written how social data analytics will be useful in analyzing the diabetes. So we have done that work, and the outcomes are there very useful. and the book costs somewhere around 10,000 to 11,000. And there is a link that is given where you will get a 30% discount on whatever subject you are interested in. The good news is all the books are used by Taylor and Francis, USA. They have looked at the contents of the book and we have requested and they have agreed the book will be available in 3 months' time for just 1,000 rupees for India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. So that the developing country students can make use of it. This is the first thing. And the second thing is India 2047. If you look at India is going to lead the world in technology. And we need more thinkers than doers. We need more thinkers than doers. Madam Lata Pillai Madam correctly said, avoid rote learning. Look at people who come out with creativity and intelligence. I got my PhD from University of Warwick in 2004 to 2008 in UK. When I was there as a PhD scholar, in the city Coventry, there was a competition going on. So this is for school students to exhibit their talent and ideas. One student designed, he drew a desk, a writing desk that he can use at his home. You know, this child of say 8th standard or 9th standard felt very uncomfortable with the desk what he used in the school and also at the home. So he wanted to have some convenience. So he has designed a desk, and from University of Warwick Manufacturing Engineering, the dean went as a judge. So there were 3-4 judges, and among the display of the prototypes or the models, this desk was given the first prize. And the beauty of these exhibitions in the Western world is the industry will come back looking for the bright minds also. So there was a furniture industry owner who on that day announced that 8th standard boy will be the manager for the design in this furniture company. There I was dreaming when in India, this is the right time. This is the right time. There are bright young minds. I'll give my own example from my home. Very sorry to say. My son is a born artist. He's very good in drawing. Surya's online digital talent, you can see. He has very beautiful art work. My husband is a biologist. I am a computer scientist. Son is very good in mathematics. I thought he will come into computer science. After 10th standard, we all went for the admission. You know, within that 2 seconds, you should become a doctor. Being a biologist, I have making books in medicine. Because my daughter wanted to pursue engineering, okay, one wicket out, we will put this boy into it. So we forced him to coach for me, but he could not score well. Okay, he overworked and in the hall, before the exam, he slept for half an hour, and he has practiced in physics, chemistry, zoology, and botany. The question paper started with botany first, and you know, the sequence didn't work. He got somewhere around 320 and he could not get into medicine. You know, this boy locked the room for 2 months. He was shocked by the failure. So math, physics, chemistry, biology, he can go for engineering, but my son could not take up that failure. We should allow our children to face failure right from the age of 5. Taught right from the child is in the womb. Okay, that is where, you know, we want everyone to get first rank, everyone to get into medicine or engineering. Why not we allow them to choose whatever they want? Okay, he locked the room for 2 months and then he came out and joined Shivan. So he took a guitar. No, he became a very good guitarist. Now we pushed him into mechanical engineering at Kumaraguru College. He was very happy. He learned all mechanical engineering, but you know, now he's saying, I want to get into MA animation. Because he's a born artist, he's good in art, he's very clear, and he's saying, I want to design the character. You know, we see the cartoon movies where he's very clearly saying, I want to biomimic the character, which is the base for augmented reality. please allow the children to talk to you. And most of the children want to follow whatever the teachers say. Amma உனக்கு ஒண்ணும் தெரியாது. எங்க அகிலா மேடம் சொல்லிட்டாங்க, எங்க ராகவன் சார் சொல்லிட்டாங்க. The teachers play very important role in deciding the children deciding the future. So when you enter the class, spend 10 minutes in what mood they are. அம்மா அப்பா ஃபைட் பண்ணிருப்பாங்க, இங்க பையன் அதை நினைச்சிட்டு உட்காந்துருப்பாங்க, சாப்பிடாம வந்து நல்லா இருக்கியாப்பான்னு ஒரு வார்த்தை கேளுங்க. நிறைய பிடிக்கும், உங்களை அவ்வளவு பிடிக்கும். Life skills are more important than your technological skills. விஷ் பண்ண சொல்லி கொடுங்க. How is the other person? Okay, are they happy? Apartments எவ்வளவு பேர் இறந்துடுறாங்க, 4 நாள் கழிச்சு தான் தெரியுது இல்லைங்களா? We should not end up. India has a very good culture. We should see that. Okay, so like parents meeting when you conduct, see to that the parents don't impose their dreams onto the children. Okay, and students are very good now. They have lot of awareness because YouTube is there. So now the challenge for the schools is what else we can teach over and above the YouTube and the online media. So if you want to learn computer basics, if the like teachers want to learn computer basics, go to Google and do get computer basics. Yes, computer basics. Textworks.com is the website which will take you whatever is like invented. There are beautiful lessons and questions and answers with very simple English and easy understandable examples. Textworks.com. So Text Computer Basics will teach all the teachers and the students on computer basics. We did a study on Jobs 2030. Jobs 2030. All the work what I'm explaining are under the leadership of Professor here in Alayar. Priya Clinical Center is run by Mr. Kalina. So you have a great person in Chennai, Professor Kalina, get his contact details. He's a bundle of ideas to improve the education. So he asked me to search Jobs 2030. So when I searched for 6 months, again I came across a vacancy report. The title is Jobs Lost and Jobs Gained. Jobs Lost and Jobs Gained vacancy report. Just put it on Google, you will get a wonderful report. AI is going to play a big role. The first and foremost company where it will be used to is drugs and pharmaceuticals. Drugs and pharmaceuticals, lot of AI can be applied. And then engineering design. And then oil and gas energy. See the leakage of oil. You can attach IoT sensors along with the tubes and you can monitor. Teachers can't be replaced by AI. So that we can be strong. We won't be losing our job just because of the technology. So these are the areas where automation will play a important role. Apart from that, if you look at in India, who will be like getting more jobs, doctors, nurses, healthcare workers. So health and pharma are going to be big industries that will be providing the job. And then computer engineers. And then the second level is computer. The third one is cook, restaurant chef and cooks and different jobs. So we have to align our curriculum so that we will be producing human resources for each industry. So jobs lost, jobs gained by McKinsey report is a good example across globe. For the entire globe, they have analyzed it, taking every country. And recently a company announced, an IT industry announced, do me paint trained students. Do me paint trained students. I will give them 3 months training and I'll give them a job. And if he wants to learn, also he can do some part-time education in their own college or their own school. Do you know which company? Zoho, very good. Zoho, they are not looking for human resources with college degrees. If we do not adapt to the technology, if we do not move towards skill-based education, all universities will become doomed universities soon. Okay. They call it as ghost university. Days are not far. We want to open our eyes and take action. So, creativity, I will touch, and skill development. So, skill development, there is one Professor Vimala of Bharatiya University, who is also looking after non-Mudalvan scheme of Tamil Nadu, where they give enormous skill development to the colleges. Similarly, we can bring it for the school teachers first, the training on skill development, then we can take it to the students. And if you look at robotic process automation is another area which is very good, RPA. As the name is robot, it doesn't mean hardware. It is software process automation. Say if I'm doing a small data analysis, I'm going to your website, downloading a tabulation of data, the weather data, weather forecast data, I'm downloading it, placing it on Excel, analyzing it for management. Then I'm going to another table and taking the second month and analyzing it. So I'm doing it for the last 12 months. So I can do it only once in this code as a macro. This can be repeated for all the 12 months by the software itself. Okay, wherever there is mundane jobs, that can be replaced by RPA. The UiPath software does this. Each license costs 3 lakhs. UiPath Romania, they have a branch in Bangalore. They are giving 30 licenses to different colleges. So 90 lakhs worth of software is given free if you sign an MOU with UiPath. Okay, if you are interested, note down my email ID. I'm T Devi. So just write TDEI number 5 at gmail.com. TDEI 5 at gmail.com, all small letters. So shoot me a mail, I'll give you the contact email address so that you can sign an MOU with UiPath. And education, nowadays, students don't learn from books. College students don't carry a notebook to take up the notes. I felt very happy when I saw some of the principals taking notes in the morning when Tata Play Madam was. Note taking is very, very important. But children love to learn from the YouTube videos and they love to learn from PPT. Before exams, they go through the PPT and go for the exam. And they are very happy in playing the game. Even a 1.5-year-old and 3-year-old child happy in playing a card race on the mobile. So we have to change. Why don't we teach everything through gamification so that they will learn the subject? Toughest job for the teachers, but edutech companies are looking at, and augmented reality plays a very vital role in this. Okay? Education through gamification. If you are interested to know the fundamentals on this, the 5th book at I4D, the website that I told, I'll be including it this week. We have developed this I4D details for college. Now I'm interested to give the details for the schools also. Just wait for 7 days to 15 days. I will put more material in c-u.ac.in, Bharatiya University website /I4D for schools separately. So gamification is a key area. So the students who are interested in media, animation, drawing, they will be getting a good job. And Madam said, students are not ready and fit to work for the industry. They come out of the engineering college or arts and science college or education college, but the industry has to train them for 6 months or 1 year so that they will fit into the job. Whereas industries do not have that much of time, they want the student to be billable on day 1. TCS approached 2 years ago, Bharatiya University, one Professor Kumar, now he's retired, he took up this challenge and he took a team of professors. I was one among them. So there is an industry academia interface in TCS Chennai. Industry academia interface in TCS Chennai. They invite invited us for 3 days of workshop. You know, the 3 months of training, what they give within TCS, they explain it to us. We teach operating system, but they teach how to install Windows OS and how to set it onto the computer. So we teach only concepts and theory, but they teach the practice of it. So we learn what they teach and we map it onto our syllabus so that we ourselves will give the input, whatever the TCS said. You know, TCS was ready to sign an MOU and they were ready to start how by training the faculty members. So they conducted a training program on Windows OS installation, cloud computing, to train the faculty members. In 5 of the colleges, we introduced BSc cognitive systems and yes, collaboration. So what I think is, rather than sitting within the colleges and schools to train the syllabus, let us go to the industry, see into that, what they need, study that, map it onto the syllabus, train the courses, sequence them, and handhold with the industry to train our teachers or even to train the students and move it forward in years. Companies are not selecting people by interviews. They select students by hackathon. You know, they announce a big competition. The problem is given, a team of students will try to solve it, the entire team will be absorbed. I remember a company in Hyderabad where the HR said there were 14 teams that came, but none of them are up to the mark. You know, there was one organization where it was not affected by COVID. You know, that organization was ready with the people who were trained earlier itself to work from remote places. When the COVID affected, they just started networking, sitting in their own villages and towns, and they started continuing. So what I mean to say is, for the disaster, we should make them ready already. And in Bharatiya University, they have done a language consortium, English language consortium. Okay, from the English department, Tamil language consortium. So there are some 30 teachers networked in South India to teach English. A student of Bharatiya University will learn, and we provide online videos and lectures also. So a student from Bharatiya University panel can also attend the class. So why don't we set up such consortium among the best school teachers for every subject and video? Cyber security is playing a very, very big role. Please get the contact details from Dr. Deepan or Dr. Saravanan yesterday. Kumaran XTC addressed the international conference yesterday. I was listening to him. I had a shared conversation. He's a bundle of innovative ideas. You know, he asked me, Tirukural, 2 lines, 4 words, 3 words. Why did they put 4 words in the first line? Why not we put all the 7 words in 1 line? He said, Tirukural, Adigaram, the 10 Kural, you put 10 words in a line, you read the first word, it forms a new Tirukural. He is connecting that with cyber security steganography. This man is with lot of problems and ideas in his mind. He can make use of him to train the students who have creativity and value quantity design thinking. So identify the interest of the student and kindle their interest. And in the same I4E website, you have a chapter on curriculum 4.0. This is inside the 5th book, but we have made it available public. Curriculum 4.0, there is a Word document and PDF document within the tabulation in the 2nd row, that you go through that, all the digital tools that can be used within the classroom are available. The names are and information on that is available. And at the end of the chapter, I have given the phone number and the email address of the experts in data analytics, artificial intelligence from Bharatiya University. If you want, you can. You know, ChatGPT. You have heard about it. I sat on that and I asked for mechanical engineering, methodology in mechanical engineering, advanced thinking mechanical engineering. I put methodology on intelligence. And then we are once you pages of assignment on whatever we are. So you learn as professor, after the picture you analyze the best. So a student will use that and write the assignment. Now there are tools coming up to identify whether this assignment is done by ChatGPT or not. You know, it is error for the teachers. You know how to identify the best student who has applied his mind and who has copied from ChatGPT. So there are disruptive transformations that have happened. See, in the same website, there is a article on disruptive technologies for higher education. Most of the things will be applicable for school technology. Disruptive technologies, disruptive reforms in higher education, Bharatiya University as a model, written by Professor C. Kalayal. We talked about a lot of digital technology. So we had a meeting with one student who works for you know, he said we should identify the important areas and we should apply data analytics and the future of that subject. See, social science. Okay? We should predict what will happen for social science in the next 20 years by applying data analytics. And we should handhold with any international level university or school that teaches that subject. We should handhold with them and then take things forward so that the students ready for the debate. So there are steps that are given what we should do to face the world, the next in schools and higher education. Skill development, NASCOM plays a very important role. National Association of Software Services Companies. Get in touch with NASCOM, ask them to train your teachers. They train the teachers for free on the latest skills. I'll just finish it in 1 or 2 minutes. So in 2047, India will be a world leader. And India will be at the forefront of the Internet of Things in 2026. The market value will be $1,102 billion. We should handhold the students with creativity and lot of new ideas. Help the student for developing the proof of concept or making the prototype in paper or model. Help the student to take the prototype to promote to incubation centers. Establish business model with key grants, facilitate the students to become entrepreneurs. You know, Ramapuram College of Technology is a very good example. But as a mother, when I went for the parents' meeting, they said, don't look at the children's grade sheet. They fail in subjects, come in the 4th year. Suppose if a student fails, okay, but he may have a creative idea, he will be allowed to work in the IQ center where he will be developing a product. The time that he has spent there and the development that he makes there will be compensated for this training subject. So they decided in the 7th semester where students are very creative. He will be bored with the lectures and just rote learning and writing filling the papers and getting the marks. So they have changed the system in engineering evaluation to match with the creative. India needs more thinkers. And the personality that the students develop by attending various workshops and competitions really helps them. So develop the students in a all-round way. And I wish the leaders here from school will develop the students so that one of the students of your school, become an alumni of your school, will become Nobel laureate in 2047. Thank you for the golden opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Humanitarian approach to learning and a human touch connect with human psyche are the need of the hour. Ma'am, you have rightly emphasized the autonomy of learners in the pursuit of it. Thank you so much, ma'am. Educationally molded, intellectually wedded, spiritually intact, and emotionally vibrant is our guest, Dr. K.R. Malavi, the founder and CEO of RO Educational Services, Chennai. He has set up 36 international and CBSE schools. He has involved herself in schools for children with special needs. Ma'am, we are greatly for good self to deliver this special message. Please, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can we give a big round of applause? Very basic things are actually watching you, sitting somewhere, how patiently you are listening to, and I think that's the way we are all doing. So there is a primary in Tamil. I'm sure that all of you understand Tamil. Yes? That is one of the person that is right to hear for. So in another year, curriculum is for right to hear. I'm not going to take much of the time because the speakers before me, they're an educated, personality have actually covered most of it. They have covered everything about, the current standards and then what is expected. So I'm just going to touch upon. I don't know the school background. I work with schools. I absolutely no connect with colleges and being, studying them in the colleges or getting into different degrees. I love studying, so I keep entering into colleges at least spend 2 years, 1 year to enjoy the college life and then to keep myself youth and non-youth. So to keep that vibrancy, I keep entering it. So apart from that, absolutely no connect with the colleges. So I'm going to talk about, we were talking about the topic for today was supposed to be transformative pathways for liberal education. I'm sure what liberal education is. Isn't it? Yes, all of us are aware? Okay, so where does this word originate from? Liberal. The word liberal, which word, from which language has it come from? It originated from Greek word, not so does not mean that it's not the opposite of conservative. When we say that liberal is not opposite of conservative, liberal is freedom. So what does liberal education mean? I'm going to give freedom to children. They're moving towards direction when it comes to education per se, whether it's school education or college education. We all be prepared. We have more openings in schools in the coming at least 10 to 15 years. So what I see is colleges will become obsolete in the coming years. Madam, you have to correct me if I'm wrong because they might become maybe finishing schools, I think, because most of it what is needed for the employment. Say for example, what is in the question about Zoho? Zoho started employing people who are private to all of the schools. Similarly, you don't need. Reason is to colleges add value to the degree that the child is studying. So what is needed to be successful in future skill set? So we are talking about science and humanities and we are talking about liberal education. Can science and humanities in isolation, can they thrive in isolation? Is it possible to thrive in isolation? Definitely not. They need to be integrated together. So what does liberal education talk about in terms of NEP? So section 11 in NEP talks humanities do not write in isolation. They subjects are interdisciplinary and have an integrated approach, which is already followed in school education. We follow. To give you a simple case study. So in order to study about the fog, okay, the sensitive air quality in Delhi, what subjects are needed? What subjects are needed to study about the air quality index? What is this? Environment, yes, yes. Statistics, physics. I think all get silent for enough time to interact. And exactly. So a combination of all subjects, even when you know what is to understand the background and the data. It's very important for you to have a understanding of different subjects and to have to arrive at a complete solution for a problem. Now, liberal education is all about arranging a problem. I might have a brilliant product. I might have something else. But if I do not know how to apply this or where to use this, then there's no point in developing a product, isn't it? So, we're all talking about this. So far, 21st century skills that we were using, they were talking about analytical skills, reasoning skills, problem solving ability, critical thinking. I think these all come under the liberal education. I think this is what is important. Can it be standalone? Can we actually take away science and humanities and have in science and technology or the STEM education alone? Man was mentioning about STEM became STEAM. Now STEAM has become STREAM also. But with technology, robotics is also playing a major role now. STEM and STEAM and then has become STEAM now. So that's coming in. So can we take it away? Definitely not. To study, initially I think it was about when the steel link was constructed between Bandra, that's in Mumbai. There was a study, there was a beautiful little girl by name Rex, I think, yeah, who was at the University of Brown. When she was talking about, I'm definitely in an often, I do not find my solace in the Indian education system because Indian education system does not allow me to study. And then she goes on explaining about what her situation was, as like many other families where children were forced. I think Professor Devi beautifully explained about her son's own experience about we are forcing children to take either NEET or JEE to become successful in life. And this child was also forced to study something where her interest was absolutely not in science or mathematics, but she wanted to do something in the humanities. And when she went on to humanities, she realized that the basic science also did well. So what is needed in our schools is integration of subjects, interdisciplinary approach in our colleges. It is not going to be any more that it is a math teacher or a science teacher or a geography teacher or a data analyst or a professor. It is going to be somebody who understands all subjects and then who is able to deliver, connect, and then make children think to create thinking nation. So liberal education is all about creating a thinking nation, and I'm sure all of us over here are working towards creating a thinking nation. So wishing you all the very best. Let's ponder. I know we all have taken. It was such lovely listening to you, ma'am, because you touched upon many aspects. I wish that we meet on another occasion to discuss about how things work at the school education. School education definitely working at a different level. It is not anymore that what we have experienced as students in the school. I work with a lot of schools, and then we are creating a lot more awareness, as I told you, and with that confidence, when I did tell you that another 15, 20 years, colleges may not be useful as well, but we are trying to do everything at the school level where students have the ability to understand and grasp most of the things at the job ready at the school level. So if institutions, if the higher education units need to survive, then you need to upskill. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your deliberation. Keeping it short and sweet is not that easy, but you have made it so. Thank you so much. And now is the time for the open deliberation. Audience, if you have any questions, you can put it on to all the three solvers. Or any discussion you want to make up, you can go ahead. So can you please come over here?
about skill development. Skills memory power also.
I think you're loud enough without a voice. Yeah, please. Curiosity kills the cat. Everybody wants to know who you are. Can you kindly introduce yourself, please? Thank you so much, ma'am. Anyone else? So you can please introduce and then you go on.